the training. And as I have mentioned in my earlier lectures also, that there are few factors which are important regarding the training is concerned, which include the e-learning simulations, etc., etc. And today I am just going to talk to you about the factors which are really important in the training and the development of the employee. These employees are either freshers or the employees who are already working in the organization since long. Because I have mentioned this thing again and again, that it is important for the organization to grow. And how they will grow? When they enhance the knowledge and the skill of the present worker. How they will do that? Because with the help of the training that can be taken care of. Because nowadays you must be aware about this thing, that a lot of latest innovations are taking place, and when the innovations are taking place, you can very well understand that the people should also enhance their knowledge regarding the innovations are concerned. So this can only be taken care with the help of the training and development. So today I am just going to talk to you about some factors which are limiting the use of the e-learning. Number one factor is the cost. So if we talk about the cost, what are the things which comes under the e-learning process, and which can you know limit the use of the e-learning? Number one, lack of motivation among employees to learn online. This is very very important point. If you see about the, if younger generation is concerned, they are very well versed with the e-learning processes, or you can see the online processes. But the people who are already working in the organizations is last 20 years, 25 years, they become little bit reluctant to understand the online process. So that is one of the lack of motivation which can limit the use of e-learning in the organizations. So it is usually seen that how you are going to motivate your employees so that at least they can just work on that e-learning. Then lack of management buy-in, that means that another point which comes into the uh, limit of the e-learning is known as the lack of management. Because sometimes it happens that when the management is not very much interested in this training and development program, that is also one of the factors which can limit the use of e-learning. Then lack of employees intranet access, that means that when the employees who are, as I have told you, that employees are not interested in going for the online processes, and when their peers and their other supervisors, they are not interested in that, that is also one of the reason why the things become so difficult for the organization to develop. The lack of proof concerning return on investment, this is a point which has to be taken into care. When we are talking about the e-learning, we are talking about online processes. So one question comes into the mind of the people, that what are the return on investment of this online process? Because if people are not motivated properly and people are not able to understand the thing, what will happen then? What is your return on investment? Your return on investment is going to be in a big problem. So that is also one of the reasons that you have to find out that what are the proof concerning the return on investment. And the lack of high quality content, because when we are talking about the online processes, the content in online should be very very uh, you know effective and high quality. So this is the role of the trainers to see that how they can develop the content. So sometimes it happens when we are talking about the e-learning processing, and when we are giving the training program and other thing also on the basis of the online things, it is usually seen that the content of that particular thing on which the training is giving to the mm, employees are not up to the mark. So these are few factors which may restrict the use of e-learning. So this is number one factor, which is cost. Then the second thing which comes into the mind is the developing the effective online learning. How we are develop the effective online process? Just now we have talked about the uh, limitation of the online e-learning, and the major part is the cost. Now I am going to talk about the developing effective online learning. Under this developing effective online learning, the first point comes is the need assessment. Identify the connection between online learning and the business needs. Get management to buy in. That means that we have to identify need. As I have mentioned this thing, that we have to find out that what is the need of this particular type of online learning process. So we have to identify the connection between the online learning and the business needs, that what exactly business needs, whether it is fruitful for the organization to go online, and then ask the management to buy all those things online processing. Then we have to make sure employees have access to technology and technology support. Consult with information technology experts about system requirements, identify specific training needs, knowledge, skills, competencies, behaviors. If needed, train learners on computer and internet basics. Yes, this is very, very important when we are talking about, suppose the organization decides that, okay, now we are going online. So it is the role of the organization to see that what are the technology they are using and what are the technological support they are having and what they are providing to the employees. Then in this case, you have to concern the uh, information technology expert and identify the specific training needs, that what basic trainings is required, which includes the knowledge, skills, competencies and the behavior. And if needed, train the learners on computer and internet basics. In most of the organizations, usually what happen, that when they buy the things regarding the online learning is concerned, they just forget about giving the training to the people. Because if you are not giving the training to the people, it will be difficult for the people who are already working in the organization since long. As you know that the people who are working in the organization since long, they are working practically. They are not working online. So it is difficult for them to understand and adopt the things fast. So it is always uh, seen that the management should take proper action regarding the training of those people, because sometimes it happens that the organization give only 1 day training or maybe for 2 or 3 hours, and after that they find out that okay, now everybody understand the thing, now we will go ahead with the online learning. But they just forget this thing, that it is not possible for each and every person to understand the thing. So at least it should be repeated again and again so that people will understand the thing, because it is very, very important to understand that what are the needs of the uh, training, and how uh, knowledge, skill, competencies and behaviors are taken care. All right. Now the second point in this effective developing online training comes is the design method. What is this design method? We have to incorporate learning principles, that means practices, feedbacks, meaningful material, and appeal to active learner involvement, and appeal to multiple senses. That means that it is very, very important when we are incorporating the learning principles. We have to see that what practices we are inculcating into those learners, then what are the feedbacks, what are the meaningful material we are providing to the people, and the appeal to active learner regarding their involvement. This is also important because we have to motivate the learners to learn this new technology. And why? Because with the help of these new technology, the people will more work more effectively. So it is important to understand this thing, that we have to incorporate the things with the help of the learners involvement into that. Then we have to design the course for the available bandwidth or increase the bandwidth considering the blended instructions, use games and simulations which are attractive to learners. Now they are saying when we are designing the method, we have to see the what are the available bandwidth there, and what are the bandwidth which has to be increased. We have to consider the blended functions also, and we have to use the game and simulations during the training program regarding the online learning is concerned, so that people got involved themselves into that particular learning. Then allow the trainees the opportunity to communicate and collaborate with each other and with the trainer, experts or facilitators. In this e-learning, what will happen, where we usually talk about the feedbacks and other thing. but we never encourage to allow the learners to interact with the trainers, to interact with the facilitator, to interact with the experts directly. Because when these people are directly interacting with their trainers, facilitators, or the experts, they will understand the thing much more faster. Then we have to make the program user friendly. Learning modules should be kept short. The content should not overload the trainees, and web page should not be confusing. Keep each instructional segment self-contained. That means that in this designing method, we have to understand one thing: when we are making the program, it should be user friendly. It should not be very very complicated, and all the learning modules should be very very short. It should not be long duration, and then content should be like this, that it should not overload the trainees. Then the web page should not be very confusing. Whatever the instructional segments are there, it should be self-contained. That means whatever the instructions are given, it should be self-contained, and it should be easily explained to the trainees very easily. So this is another point which we have to take into consideration after the need assessment, that how we are going to design the method. Then we have to create a smooth transition between the instructional segment. That means that whatever the instructions we are giving, it should be very very smooth. Then we have to provide learners with control, including the opportunities to skip sections or modules, and the ability to pause, bookmark, review, and return to where they left off. Yes, it is very very important, and we have to provide the learners the control, which includes the opportunities to the learners to skip the sections or modules, ability to pause, bookmark, review, and return to the same page where they left off. Learners often need to deal with interruptions and distractions. Yes, it is quite common that when the learners are there, they are encountering a lot of interruptions and distractions also. Any audio, video, or animation should be useful to the learner. Otherwise, it is a waste of time and bandwidth. That means they are saying that it is important if we are using the audio and video or the animation sort of thing while we are describing the things to the people, it will be easier for learner to understand that. Then we have to provide writers and instructional designers with clear guidelines for the maximum number of words per screen. As I have already mentioned you that whatever the contents are, it should be very precise and small. So we have to inform the instructional designer to see that the content should be small, and how much words they are using on a particular screen, and how many interactive exercises to include. That means that whatever the contents and in which how much exercises they are including into that. Then what is the evaluation? As we have talked about the need assessment, then we have talked about the designer method, now we are going to talk about the evaluation. Make trainees and managers accountable for course completion and learning conduct. A formative evaluation, large scale use of online learning. That means that we have to make the trainees and the managers accountable for course completion and the learning content. That means that we have to make accountable managers and the trainees, that they should see that how they are going to complete the course. Then what are the basic principles of designing e-learning? As we have discussed about the need assessment, we have discussed about the design and the method also. Now we are going to talk about the principles for designing e-learning. Instructions including relevant visual and words. Text is aligned close to the visual. Complex visuals are explained by audio or text rather than by both text and audio that narrate the text. That means that we have to see when we are talking about the instructions, these instruction includes the visual and the words. Text is aligned very close to the visual, and sometimes it happens that the audio and visuals are taken into consideration when we narrate the text. Then extraneous visual word and sounds are omitted. That means all the sounds which are coming from outside or different, it has to be omitted. Then learners are socially engaged through conversational language agents. That means that the languages which are used in this content should be very, very simple so that the learner should understand the thing. The content is presented in short sequences over which learners have control. That means that whatever the things we are going to put up in front of the learner in the form of the content, it should be very short and precise, as I have mentioned again and again. Then activities and exercises that mimic the context of the job are provided. That means that whatever the exercises and the activities we are providing to the learner during the e-learning process, it should be related with the job which they are going to do. Then explanation are provided for learners, responses to quizzes and exercises. Yes, whatever the exercises and quizzes we are providing to the learners, we have to see this thing that explanation should be there in each and every exercise. Then exercises are distributed within the and among the model. That means that whatever the modules we are making, after the completion of the module, we have to put up the exercises rather than putting up everything in one place. So it is important to understand this thing when we are designing the e-learning content. We have to see that after each and every module, we have to give the exercises so that it will be easier for the person to learn the thing, that means learn the particular module and give the answers for those modules. Then computer based training, what we are discussing about the technology for collaboration and linkage. We were discussing about the point bandwidth. What is this bandwidth? Now I'm just going to describe you what is this bandwidth. Bandwidth is number of bytes and bits information that can travel between computers per second. That means that whatever the bytes and bits that can travel between the computers per second. Then online learning should try to build an interactivity without requiring the use of plugins, additional software that needs to be loaded on the computer to listen to sound or watch video. That means additional software that needs to be loaded on computer to listen to sound or watch video. So basically bandwidth is nothing but it is a number of bytes and bits. That means the informations that can travel between the computers per second. As I have mentioned here, that when we are talking about the need assessment, we are either working on the same bandwidth or we are increasing the bandwidth. That means that we are increasing the information which can travel from one computer to another computer per second. Then hyperlinks, links that allow a trainee to access other websites, that includes printed materials as well as communication links to experts, trainers, and other learners also. These are the hyperlinks which are usually mentioned in the training program, that include the printed materials as well as communication linked to experts, trainees, and other learners also, so that they can always access those links and they can find out other websites also. Then learning portals, websites or online learning centers that provide via e-commerce transactions, access to training courses, services, and online learning communities from many sources. That means learning portal means that these are the portals which can be provided through e-commerce, that access of training courses, then services and online communities from many sources they can easily access. That means the learners can easily access all these portals with the help of the e-commerce. Then there are common ways of collaboration in online learning. Number one is chat rooms. Trainees communicate at the same time by text or audio. So whenever that some video is going on or the audio is going on, there is a small chat box where the learners can put up their queries and it can be moderated by the facilitators. Then message boards. Trainees communicate at different time by typing comments that remain on the board for others to read and respond. Yes, this is the same thing like chat room. In this also message board, the trainees can communicate at different time. Then threaded discussion. Trainees communicate via a message board in which related comments appear together in discussion occur over time. That means that in the threaded discussion, what happens? The trainees communicate via a message board, as just now I have told you about the message board, and which the related comments appear together, and then it can be discussed over time. Then online conferencing. Trainees are online with the moderator. They can hear comments, send messages, display visual, vote, or thanks. This usually happens when we are talking about the e-learning is concerned, when there is a long distance discussions and other thing. In that situation, we use the online conferences. Then emails are there. List serves means in these groups, emails, trainees comment on a topic and comment are sent to everyone on the mailing list. That means that in the list service, that means that whatever the comments are given by the learner or the trainer, it has to be sent it to each and every person. Then blogs. These journal-like entries are posted on trainees' web pages for public viewing. Also, blogs typically have links to other websites also, along with the trainees' personal thoughts and the comment. That means that whatever the personal thoughts trainees are having, they can put up through the blogs, and it can be seen by each and every person outside the uh, organization. Wikis, these web pages are designed to enable trainees who access them to modify their content. That means that these are the wikis are the things which can be uh, given to the trainees. They can modify the things in different manner. Then what is social networking? Trainees can share information through connection with other trainees, trainers, friends, and family through online communication and messages services such as MySpace, Facebook, and Twitter. That means that whatever the things trainees want to discuss with their colleagues, with their trainers, with their experts or their family member, they can do this thing with the help of the communication through Twitter or the Facebook. Then what is blended learning? I have talked to you about e-learning problems, that what is e-learning, what is bandwidth, what is need assessment, what is method. Then now I'm going to talk about the blended learning. It combines online learning, face-to-face instruction, and other methods for distributing learning content and instruction. In the blended learning, it is a online learning, face-to-face instructions, and other methods for distributing learning content and the instruction. In comparison to the classroom delivery, blended learning provides increased learner control, allow for self-directedness, require learners to take more responsibility for their learning. That means that in this blended learning, the learners are going to be having more control. Then they allow the self-directedness, that whatever the thing they are learning, they are putting up in the proper direction, whatever they feel like. Then it requires the learners to take more responsibility for their learning. That means when there is a face-to-face instruction and other methods for distributing learning content and instruction, it will be easier for the learner to take more and more responsibilities. Then, in comparison to the pure online learning, blended learning provides more face to face social interaction. Ensure that at least some of the instruction is presented in a dedicated learning environment. In this, they are saying when we are talking about the pure online learning and the blended learning is much more better because it is more face to face social interaction, and it will ensure that some of the instruction is presented in a dedicated learning environment. Then what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of blended learning? So advantage is that it provides the live feedback from peers, which is preferably to feedback received online. Yes, it is a live feedback which you are getting from the peers. Then capitalize on the positive learning features inherent in both face-to-face and web-based instructions. Then what are the disadvantages? Demanding requires greater time commitment, fast changing technology, insufficient management support and commitment, and difficult to understand and implement. Yeah, this is the problem with the blended learning, that it requires greater time commitment. You have to use a lot of time for that. Then the technologies are changing on daily basis. Then there is a insufficient management support and commitment, and it is difficult to understand and implement the things. So these are the things which has to be taken into care when we are talking about the blended learning, and these are the disadvantages of blended learning. Then avatars, computer depictions of humans that are used as imaginary coaches, co-workers and customer in simulation. Yes. What are avatars? If somebody asks you what is avatar, so please remember one thing, it is basically computer depiction of humans which can be used as a imaginary coaches, co-workers when you are going for the simulation. As I have informed everybody, that simulations are the replica of the exact work which you are going to perform. For this, I can give you an example. When the people who are going to uh, going in space, basically the astronauts, there is a simulation situation which are provided by to these astronauts, and everything is absolutely same regarding the temperature is concerned or the air pressure is concerned. Everything is same which they are going to encounter in space. So these are computer depiction of human being, as avatar says, and it can be work as a coach, it can work as a co-worker also, and it can be provided in the simulation, so that you will absolutely imagine that okay, this is the same thing which we are going to face in the particular space. Then there are different type of simulation. Branching story, this is first type of simulation, which says trainees are presented with a situation and asked to make a choice or decision. Trainees progress through the simulation on the basis of their decision. This is branching story where the trainees are giving presented with a situation, and on the basis of the situation they have been asked to make the choices and the decision. And trainees usually progress through the simulation on the basis of their decision. Then interactive spreadsheet. Trainees are given a set of business rules. Usually this is for the finance part, and asked to make decisions that will affect the business. Interactive spreadsheets are basically for the finance students. In this, we are giving a set of business rules, usually finance, and asked to make the decisions which can affect the business. The decisions are entered into a spreadsheets that show how the decision affect the business. So this is also very interesting thing, that when we are giving the spreadsheets to the students, of course the finance students who are going for the simulation, they have been given a spreadsheet and the rules are given to them. On the basis of that, they have to make the decision regarding the business, and all the decisions what they have taken, it has to be incorporated in the spreadsheets, and that will show that how you calculate the things and how you feel that the business is going to increase. Then next is the game based. Trainees play video game on a computer. This is another simulation. Virtual labs. Trainees interact with a computer a representation on the job for which they are being trained. That means in the virtual lab, you have been giving the training. Let's check if we talk about the finance, there are virtual lab regarding the stock market is concerned. So in this situation, you are working as a stock market broker, and you are deciding regarding different shares up and down processes. Then what are the advantages of simulation and disadvantages of simulation? So first I'm going to talk about the advantages of simulation. It eliminates the need to travel to a central training location. Yes, this is one point. You can do this thing from anywhere. Gets trainees involved in learning and are emotionally engaged when they are in the simulation sort of thing. Then simulators provide a consistent message of what need to be learned. That means the simulators who are there and watching, they provide a information to the learners that what exactly is needed by those people. That it can safely put employees in situations that would be dangerous in the real world. While we are going for the simulation, the situations which are there which may be very dangerous when you are working practically on the job, so it can be solved in the simulation part also. This is also another advantage, and the result in positive outcomes as short training times and increased return on investment. That means the result regarding the simulation says that there is going to be positive outcomes and shorter training time, and the return on investment is also going to be very good. Now, what are the disadvantages? High development costs. Yes, regarding the simulations are concerned, you have to invest a lot of money into that because it is a highly sophisticated labs. Trainees may not be comfortable in learning situations that lack human contact. Yeah, sometimes it happens that training are not happy working in simulation labs because there are no human contact. So this is also one of the disadvantages. Then virtual reality, computer based technology that provides trainees with a three-dimensional learning experiences, allowing them to experience the presence. As I have already mentioned to you, that it is a virtual learning, that whatever you are going to experience in the practical aspects while you are working in the organization, it is the same thing. Then advantages means it allows the trainees to practice dangerous tasks without putting themselves or others in danger. Yes, as I have mentioned just now, that the dangerous tasks can be taken care of in this simulation, and you can encounter those dangerous things and you can come to the solution also. Then more memory available for the learning. Yes, there are more learning memories are there. Then what are the disadvantages of simulation? Poor equipment that results in reduced sense of presence. Yes, if the equipments are poor or the old one, it will directly reduce the sense of the presence. Then poor presence may result in trainees experiencing simulator sickness. That means they are saying that when there is a poor presence of simulators, equipments, which will result in the trainees sickness. That means that trainee will not feel very happy while working on the simulators. Then imitate an actual workplace without any harm, as I have already mentioned this thing. Then provide a place to meet with trainers, managers, or other employees who can serve as teachers. Yes, this is there. These are the simulators coaches. Then useful for teaching interpersonal skill. Yes, this can develop the interpersonal skills among the trainees also. Then motivate the learners by making learning fun and interactive. Yes, it is usually saying that it will motivate the learners in such a manner that they will learn the things with fun and activities and enhance the transfer of training also. Then it is used for e-learning collaborations and meeting also. So these are the basic advantages which simulation can be given to the trainees. And then what are the disadvantages? The lack of ease for of use for first time users. Yes, it is difficult for the first time user to understand the simulators. Then potential risk of a difficult keyboard and mouse interface, high investment of time and money required, then lack of evidence supporting its effectiveness for the learning. That means that there are not too much evidences which can support and say that okay, learners have learned a lot about it. So it is very very important to understand this thing, that how the things are going to be uh, taken into consideration when we are talking about the simulation in the e-learning processes. Then mobile technology and training methods. iPods PDS. Mobile technology consists of wireless transmission system, usually we said Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Then mobile devices, which is known as PDS, GPS, RFID, etc. then software applications. Then what are the basic challenges in that? Ensuring employees know when and how to take advantage of the technology. These are the challenges. Then when and where you are going to take the advantages of these technologies. Then ensuring employees can connect to a variety of network irrespective of their location or mobile devices. That means that this will ensure the employees can connect anywhere and whenever they want, whether they are inside the organization or outside the organization. So these are the basic things which I have told you regarding the e-learning process is concerned related with the need assessment to uh, designing of the e-learning processes, then simulation processes, then mobile technologies and training methods also, then the difficulties, advantages and disadvantages. I'm quite sure that you are clear about the e-learning process, that what are the e-learning process and how it will help the organization to motivate the people within the organization and enhance their skill, knowledge, competencies, and behavior, which can help the organization to grow in much more better and effective manner. So these are the things which has to be incorporated into that. On the basis of that, I have given some questions here, and I am quite sure you are in a position to give the answer for these questions. I just want to read out few questions here, like what specifically e-learning goods for? Managing interactive self-study and tutorials, reduce learning time, increase consultation time, enhance learning activities. So you have to think and give the answer for that. Then e-learning is self-directed and self-paced mean. The questions are: learners control the amount of time they spend on any particular topic. This allow learners to spend additional time on difficult items before moving on or to skip material they already understand. Student can learn forever and student can learn without being bothered deadline. Then there are some other questions which says that e-learning provide consistent and effective training. It means no variation in the delivery of lesson. All the target learners can participate simultaneously and receive the same information. All teachers will have the same style in delivering the lessons or reducing the variability introduced through multiple sessions in different locations. Then, why do we have to provide a test for the learners? To make sure that the student have taken the course material, to make activity for students, to compare and measure the learning outcomes, and to ensure that the student know the material covered. So these are the questions which I am quite sure that after going through the whole topic, it will be easier for you to just think over it, and on the basis of that, you are in a position to give the answer for those things. So I'm uh, quite confident when we talk about the simulation, when we talk about the need assessment, when we talk about the designing and the methods are concerned, we can take everything into consideration, and then we will develop the training modules for the learners. And these training modules, as I have mentioned this thing again and again, that it should be very very short, it should not very lengthy, the content should be short, which can be understandable by the employees or the learners very effectively. And we have to use the video, audio or the animation while we are delivering the lectures to the learners, because it is usually seen that when the delivery of the lectures are in with the help of these things, audio, video as well as the animation things, it will be easily accepted or learned by the or memorized by the employees, and it they can easily incorporate those things when they are working on the practical job training. So I'm quite sure that you are in a clear position to understand the e-learning processing, and regarding the questions are concerned, you are in a position to give the answer for those questions. So this is all from my side. Thank you very much.